Okay, welcome back, Mr. Smith Garage. We are underneath Jack. I'm gonna install this other trailing arm here. Pretty easy, like especially since it's all clean. I don't have any rust on my trailing arms. I've got previous videos talking about these, which ones I ended up using. These are the ones originally from Jack. So these are 1981 trailing arms. I also had a pair of 82 trailing arms that I had from a donor vehicle. Just in case, but you can see we clean this up. What we're gonna do now is I've got these new bushings. Once again, I got these bushings, all this stuff from Burley Motorsports. He kind of gave me some tips on how to get these guys together. They're gonna go in here, but we're gonna put some dielectric grease on the inside here, just so that it won't squeak when things are moving along. As we're over time, that silicone grease will stay in there and keep it from squeaking. So just a little bit, make sure it gets kind of good and greased up there. Getting these in to this spot, it shouldn't be too hard. Make sure we get the so you probably can't see that, huh? Let's get you some here. You can see what I'm doing here. So you just want to get that in there with the shaft in between. You can see that one in actually really easily. I think the other one I had to kind of press in there. Once again, not a lot to this. You can see I'm not putting a ton on there. I'm just getting it on there so that it's in that metal. It also kind of keep it from rusting, possibly. That dielectric grease is just a silicone grease. It's semi-waterproof, water resistance. Now I did clean the inside of the slot that these go in. It's always nice to have clean parts, right? Got both of those bushings in there with the shaft down the middle. Once again, I've been kind of lucky because this, I don't know if this was, it is a California emissions vehicle, but there's not a lot of rust. Some of these, you'll see people do videos on these, and they're so rusty and crazy. This is not. Once one's in, makes it a little bit easier to get the other one in. So on this outside one, of course, it's in there, so we're all good. What you're not seeing underneath this bolt is that this is slotted to go back and forth this way, and then this one is slotted to go up and down. And that's how you get your alignment set up. We're gonna kind of just set it all up. We'll do the alignment later, but I want to get this kind of all together so you can see what's going on. It's always nice. Burley got the hardware for all this too, so I'm putting new hardware in here. Once again, if you're not familiar on Vanagon stuff, Burley Motorsports, he's got Vanagon stuff. He does mostly off-road. He really enjoys kind of the Baja side of things and doing off-road stuff. So you'll see quite a bit of synchro stuff. He'll sell synchro things. He actually, if you want to lift your Vanagon, he has extended trailing arms so that he's actually like created, re-welded them. He's a really good welder. He's helped me weld a couple things up. Anyway, so that's kind of Burley's thing is working on all that stuff. You'll kind of see these come together a little bit as we tighten that up. That's the point of those bushings. You can see that's still pretty loose, which is fine. We're going to tighten it up as we get done with more and more of this. I have new brake lines as well for this whole process. So what I'm going to do is tighten this one up, then we'll move on to the springs and the shocks. Springs, we've got this little disc, which just goes right down on here. And then I've got this thicker disc that we're going to put up on top. And then here's my Schwenk springs for Vanagon Westy. So they are sprung for a Westy. And that's about where they go. So in order to get that spring in, I need to get the shock in here. We're going to open up these Radflo Shocks. I think these might be the rear, but I'm not sure. Unboxing of the Radflo Shocks. Let's see what we got. Been excited about these for a long time. I don't know, Burley, if you remember how long ago we bought these, but we bought them a ways back. Let's see what we got. Are these my front shocks? These are these are my front shocks. So we'll just leave those in there until we get to the front. Let's go find the rear shocks. The rear shock box is so much heavier. Let's see. Boy, talk about good packaging. These are great packaging. Okay. Much heavier. Whew. It's got some weight to it. Rear with piggyback reservoir. Okay, so here's what we need to do with these. Make sure you guys can see what's going on. It's got a bushing in here that probably fits just perfectly in there. So we got to get that bushing off. And then I got to go find my hardware for this. Let's go find that hardware and I will be right back. We'll install these shocks. Okay, I found the box with a bunch of stuff in it. So here's an extra backing plate. Here's a couple of wheel hubs for the rear, some brake. There's a brake cylinder there. Here's my brake lines, lug nuts, another cylinder. Here's all the brake parts, including, there's a castle nut. And I found one bolt in here that appeared to be a shock absorber. These are all the springs for the rear brakes. Here. So it won't fall because we got it all propped up here. Here's the old springs that were in there. There's some intake manifold stuff. Let's see what else we got back here. I got a lot of parts going on in here. Just looking for the right ones. So you can see I also found these little bump stops. So we're going to clean those up. Where was that? Oh, yeah. So here's the shock absorber top bolt. And then here's what I think is the bottom because it's the same size. Fits in there perfectly. These are obviously too long. I'm not sure what this is for. It might be front suspension. So I need two of these. I only have one. And I don't think it's on the other trailing arm. Although I do have more hardware out in the shed. See, here's some of my other hardware. But I don't think that's... Oh, nope, that's too small. There's 2, 3 castle nuts. These are, I think, from the Eurovan. These are just some extra bolts I stuck in there. That's from the Eurovan. Those are for the chain tensioners. Here's for the flywheel on the Eurovan. I just threw some extra ones in here because I figured they're good metric bolts. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some new hardware for this. This doesn't look good. So I'm trying to think if I want to get new hardware for these. These old school bolts are probably stronger than anything they make nowadays. The other thing I did was I put these bearings in the freezer because I've seen that a couple times, and so when we go to assemble these, we'll see if that helps get those in there. I do have a thing that I can hammer those in with it that's set up to do that. So we'll see. Anyway, for right now, I'm gonna go look in the shed for some more nuts and bolts and see what I've got out there. All right, so I'm waiting for some hardware. I need to go get some hardware because I don't want to use these old bolts for the shocks. So while I'm waiting for hardware, I was kind of doing some looking around and found some more parts that I needed. And I started thinking, well, why don't we go ahead? So I found these, which we need those, right? And so clean those up just a little bit. And I thought, why don't I go ahead and start putting these bearings in? They're not hard to do. I actually, you can see I've got my little piece that I can hammer with. You can hammer it in there. But I've seen some tricks about doing bearings, and so I got it in my freezer here. Got some bearings in here, so I'm going to try this out, see how it works. So by freezing the bearings, we're making the metal colder. It allows it to just slide right in there. I did clean these out earlier, so they should be clean. And I think once I get it past that first spot there, well, yeah, let's just get a hammer in. Well, it went in the other one much easier than that. Well, freezing it did not make it easier. There it goes. Okay, it was just that lip. Interesting. Now that it's in there, what I'm going to do is put this ring in there, keep it in. These guys, basically we want to pull it in, and I want to keep my hand over it so it doesn't pop out at me. So that's in. So that one's in. That was pretty easy. Now we don't want to forget to put the spacer in there. Let's see how easy this one goes in. Nope, not quite as easy. So I want to find again the right size. I want to make sure we get it in there evenly. Trying to figure out how deep we want it to be in there. Well, you'd think this would be a little bit easier since I froze those, but it doesn't seem to be getting any easier. I'm trying to think of how far in I need this bearing. I know the seal will go in there, but I might need to take a look at a prior video and see how far down this should go. Well, fans of Mr. Smith Garage, we are back in the garage again with Jack Ferdinand. I have some new hardware. So I got some new hardware here for inside the brake mechanism, you know, for the backing plate. And I got some new hardware here that will hold the hub axle, or stud axles on the hub. And let's see. And last thing we were doing, this has now been a couple days because Saturday I pretty much worked all day at the airport. I just don't like beating this stuff in, and I'm sure, you know, it's steel and all that stuff, and it's fine. But I decided, well, I think it was on Friday, we went down to Harbor Freight and I picked up a press. So we're going to open this so you can see what it looks like. All right, I think I've got a good spot to put this that won't take up too much space in the garage, but figured we'd open it here and see how difficult it is to put together. This is the Central Machinery 12-ton press from Harbor Freight. steel. Steel. Okay, here's a better picture. You can see these cross supports that aren't there and the angle of that cut. Just trying to see if there's anything else that maybe looks a little different on this. On the jack, this jack handle pull is obviously different on mine. This space here, this upper beam, mine's a little bit narrower. This has a plate, it looks like, that's underneath the jack, where this is just sitting on top of there. Shouldn't be a big deal as long as you have it centered, which if you're looking straight down from here, you can see I've got it kind of centered where the jack barrel is. You know, not having anywhere to like set the jack on there, I don't know, I might put a plate of steel on there and maybe drill through here and bolt it down so that it stays stationary. Because, you know, when you're pressing with a hydraulic press like this, you're just going straight up and down, so it shouldn't be a problem. There you go. It only took me 15-20 minutes to put it together. Not hard to put together. Let's hope it works for the purposes of what I'm doing. Oops. There it goes. Okay, let's bring it up and see how that looks. Let's take this out. You can see where we're at there. I think we're in the right spot. If I push too much further down, I'd be pushing against this clip, which I don't want to push against the clip here. Grease seal's going to go on top, and got my spacer inside, so I think we're good on that one. That was much easier than pounding, let's say that, huh? So I just got to make sure I get this full of bearing grease. Well, and I'll be able to use this for quite a few things, pressing in and out, so I'm happy about getting that. We've had a lot going on in the garage over this last weekend, including the Bills lost. So last time we were under here, we need to what do you call it? We need to torque down our bolts for our trailing arm. We got our new bushings in, and we've got the Radflo Shocks here that we're gonna install. And so I got some hardware for the shock towers to be able to do that. And so that's what we're working on now. Yeah, one thing I don't know about these is which way do we install them? Do we install them with the reservoir at the top, or at the back, or at the reservoir at the bottom? I actually don't know. Huh. Hopefully you can see everything that's going on here. Okay. And I did go back and watch a previous video of how we had these installed. They were installed as like this. So what we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to go get the jack. Okay, we got the shot here. Let's make sure we got everything going the right shot. Okay. Got this in there. And I don't have a hammer here, but we're going to use something like a hammer. There we go. Just like that. Yep. All right, so I just looked at a quick video from Radflo, and they don't have a whole lot of videos of installing Radflo shocks on a Vanagon out there, so this might be a first. I'll have to make sure I really advertise this one. Anyway, if you like, subscribe, see what we're doing. So anyway, what we've done is we've put the reservoir on the front end of this shock, because if I put it in the back, you can see the reservoir piece will actually hit that little piece of steel on the shock there, so, or on the shock holder. So we're going to put this in the front. Should be fine. You're not going to really see it. The tire's going to be here. You might see a little bit of the top of it, but we got our spring in here. We got the block on the top and then the little disc on the bottom, and we'll get all this stuff tightened up to spec. Make sure we get these all tightened too. But first step in getting the suspension done. Looks great. Really happy with the way it's looking. It's all clean in there, so that's always nice. Like I said, we've had a lot of stuff going on in the garage, and just want to make sure that we get all of this on video and get it out there, get our content out there for you. Thanks for watching, and let's just tighten these guys up, huh? All right, folks, we got the Bentley out. If you don't have Bentley and you work on Vanagons, you're missing out. So make sure you get the Bentley. We're looking at, of course, our rear suspension. What we want to do here with rear suspension. Bump stop. I got bump stops for in there, so gotta make sure I install that bump stop. And we're gonna go with, these guys are 74 foot-pounds for the bushings, 74 foot-pounds. Bottom shock is 65 foot-pounds. So I think we're gonna go with the same at the top. Doesn't give me our torque. We're gonna go with the 65 because that's what the bottom one is. So that's what we're working on now, is just our torquing things up. So I got the torque wrench set 74 because that's what we're doing on this one. I wonder if I'm gonna have to do it on this side. There's 74. Trying to get 74, and we're not quite there yet. Let's move the camera over here. Yep, we're still going. We are still going. Okay. There it is. There's that 74. Let's move this down to 65. There's 65. And and the bump stop was, I just grabbed it. Where'd it go? Like I said, we've got a lot going on just to get this stuff going, and I'm not quite sure. There it is. There's the two bump stops. Let's take one over there, get it put in. You know, we ended up getting these bearings in, which, you know, was, that helped us because we were pounding on it and it just wasn't working. Got a bunch of hardware for different things, and yep, here's all of our hardware. And so finally back on this Sunday night here, trying to get this stuff all wrapped up so we can actually get the stub axles in here, and the CVs, and the transmission and all that stuff. So here, let me see if I can put this down. I need to focus on this a little bit. Should put a little bit of silicone grease on there so it gets in there nice and easy. There we go. Bump stop is in. Springs are in, shocks are in. Pretty happy with that, how that turned out. Looking good, looking good. The only thing that we'll have to do with this is alignment. We do have the new brake lines to go in. I gotta get those attached up and ready to go. And we've got to grease up our hubs. We got to do the other side. You can see the other side over there staring at me. All right. Wanted to say once again, just thanks for joining Mr. Smith Garage. We're over 500 subscribers now, and every subscription is great. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, and if you have any questions about what I'm doing, like, why are you working on an 81 air-cooled Vanagon? Well, I'm just kind of a purist. I know they only have like 65 horsepower, 67 horsepower, but still, you know, like that's an air-cooled motor 2.0. It's going to go into Jack here, the 81 Vanagon, and got the top, I got the tent ready to go on. Just got to get it rolling so I can get it painted, and then we can start working on the interior and get everything else done. So once again, thanks for watching. This is the project of Jack, the 81 Westfalia two-wheel drive air-cooled Vanagon. Thanks for watching. Okay, one more quick shot because, you know, I had to make sure I got it all done and everything. So these are all torqued down to 65. These are torqued to 74. I got my bump stop in there. New Schwenk Springs for Westy. Got everything, our little block at the top, looking good. Ready to receive our new hubs that have the bearings all pressed in. Just got to grease them up, get the axle stubs in there, stub axles, and we'll probably attach the axles to the stub axles for insertion, so it makes it a little bit easier. We just insert it through and we'll have it on the other side ready to receive the transaxle here. So once again, thanks for watching Mr. Smith Garage. I know I say this all the time, but we really do appreciate all of our viewers, and if you're enjoying this process that we're going through, just shoot me a note. Tell me everything's going cool, or if there's something I should do that maybe you didn't do and you think that I should do it. So, all right. Thanks again for watching. Bye.